We're excited to get the 2020 campaign going for Auburn baseball this weekend. Home 4-game series with Illinois Chicago, and you know, we've been working hard since August and got a ton of veterans back, as everybody knows, and still 18 newcomers that add to the mix here and try to work in. And these 4 games will give us a huge gauge on where we're going and trying to build a new identity of an entire new ball club. We have 2 new staff members. Of course, probably the most notable and popular is Tim Hudson coming on staff, replacing Steve Smith, who was a huge piece of our program the last 2 years, that got the appointment as a head coach at Tennessee Tech. And we bring back one of our greatest, and Tim Hudson, to lead our pitching staff. It's been exciting. He's got the Cliff Notes version by just joining us in January, but it's done an amazing job. You can imagine the immediate connection and respect of our players to get to work with Tim on a daily basis. And then I want to mention Dan Gamache has been a great addition to us. He just played at Auburn, had an opportunity to play professional baseball for 9 years, and has just come back and started this semester to finish his Auburn degree. And he helps with our infielders. He was a great infielder here, and so he helps Carl with the infield, Coach Nunemaker, and also assists Gabe, Coach Gross, with our hitters. And he's proven to be a huge addition here in a short period of time.
Butch, when you go into a season after a first College World Series since 1997, do you use what Bruce Pearl, those guys, have having a target on your back, dealing with success, all those things, do you use that as kind of, hey, watch how these guys are handling things?
Yeah, I used it last Saturday when I come out for my practice, and I'm like, you know, you don't have to go far. You can go right across the street, as a matter of fact. And I think you use everything that's of motivation, that's of substance. And for those guys to make our first Final Four ever, and you can't tell me that the biggest strength of our basketball team is not built around their resiliency and their ability to just love to compete in the moment. And they're the best when the moments get down to it and it matter the most. I want that. I want us to have that same hunger. You know, we're following their momentum from last year, to be honest with you. Those guys get to the Final Four, and we were chasing that. I think that momentum was positive, of us playing our early part of our season while they're on that historic run, and then we're picking it up. And that becomes possible when it's possible with other parts of our program. And I'll tell you, Coach Pearl, what he's done meant to our program has been amazing, for helping us grow our program and having people invest and bringing people to our office. He hadn't just done an amazing job that everybody respects with a basketball program. He's had an impact and has put time and energy into making our baseball program better as well. And that's I can tip my hat to that.
Do you treat it as new team, new season, or we have a lot of guys back who went to Omaha last year, let's build on that?
Yeah, both. You know, I could use the World Series trip in one way if that would mean you got 3 runs to start every game. So if we could start up 3-0 because you went to the World Series, I would use that. But they don't. So you have to go build an entirely new team. You know, when you start talking about the guys that are gone from the ball club, Elliot Anderson can't come out of the bullpen in relief. Ed Julian can't come up and get one of 68 RBI. So right there, just that small little glimpse of examples, it's a different ball club. There's just a different chemistry in that clubhouse, and you've got to build a new foundation. But when you've had success and you've worked really hard to try to build into a space where you have respect of your fan base, you have respect of your conference and peers and college baseball in general, you should embrace every positive movement and growth that you have. I think that's part of my job too. So I embrace the potential of where I want us to be. You know, people use the word expectation. That was our job when we got here, and the expectation is different from then till now. You never apologize for that, no matter how much you're trying to play up. We want to play up. Everybody that's sincere about competing and doing great and making a difference is wanting to play up as much as they can. So we'll take that from what hopefully our expectation internally and the quality of baseball that we can play. We take that as a positive, but just because you go, you don't get spotted anything. There's nothing to where this UIC ball club, for example, is coming in here, and they'll leave us and they'll go to Vanderbilt. And they opened up with A&M last year, and they're the Horizon Conference champions. They've been to a regional 2 of the last 3 years. They're up 3/4 of a ball game against Louisville last year in a regional. These guys intentionally, and I'm thankful that they put Auburn in that category to try to play an SEC team, a Power 5 ball club, to open their season, because they think it's a roadmap for their program to have success and have a chance to win their conference. So I respect that, but if we are not hungry, if we're not focused to want to continue to compete in the moment the way our basketball team is, I go back to that, they're a great example of that. If we don't have that hunger to continue to wake up every day, a team like this is seen and try to go play and been at their place the last 2 or 3 years. They've built their program on playing guys like us all the time. So they're not going to be surprised or intimidated or anything. We'll have to be hungry. We've got 4 games scheduled to split this series or to win this series. We'll have to be not only having a lot of guys back, we'll have to be hungry and we'll have to execute to a certain level for sure.
What's the plan for Ryan Bliss this weekend as far as shortstop or second base?
I'll brag on it. I'll tell you, you get the head coach, I think, on game week. I don't know if other coaches do it. It's beside the point, I guess. I think the head coach, one of his things he should do on game week is he should go and visit with every player on the team and kind of give them a feel of what the expected role is. And, of course, after you throw the first pitch of the season, everything can change, and usually does. But I think you go touch every player and give them an expectation, because I don't want them wondering. I want them ready for whatever their role is and what we're asking of them, and I want their brain set where they can go out and attack whatever their role is for this opening weekend at least, until the players start making the lineup out from then on. And Ryan Bliss was really neat. In our short, probably 45-second meeting, I respect him. He said, wherever you play me, I'll play. Whatever's best for this team, you put me there, I won't ever blink. The only thing I ask is if I play good enough and I can really help this team and I deserve to be in there, I want to play every game. And I'm like, well, that's kind of the poster child for every player I want around me. Whatever you decide, Coach, where you put me is good. If I'm good enough to be in there, I want to play every ball game. And so to answer your question, I would anticipate him starting at short tomorrow, and where the game will play this out. I think he'll start a game at second base this weekend as well. So we'll see him Friday at short and Saturday at second, and we'll see if the sun comes up Sunday and figure it out there. But I think we're going to get a look at both. My point and Ryan's desire is what I know going into it. His role is expected to be in there every day, and then just trusting us to move him around and keep, it's like the old Skip Berkman adage, we're not looking for the 9 best, we're looking for the best 9. So this, if I'm talking to a fan and they're interested in short or second, so I think playing shortstop the last 4 months has made him a better baseball player. There's a different requirement on the arm. There's more range. It's further away from first base. There's also something stimulating about the brain. If he sat there and played every game at second base last year and he did it here again in the fall, I might be missing some of that stimulus that going over to short has probably stretched him as an athlete. Our job is to also develop him and give him some new stimulus from time to time. I think putting him at short has done that, made him a better athlete, and helped him grow from last year. Will it shake out in 3 weeks where we're better with him at second base? If that's the case, then we'll do it. If it's at short, we'll stick with that. But I'm not going to let even my own brain or my guesswork of the off season answer the question. I'm going to let game experience and games being played help us answer these questions as we get into the season.
So that means Garrett Farquhar could get an opportunity, or Brody Moore could get an opportunity, then
Yeah.
be switching back and forth?
I think they all will. I think, we're pretty – not a lot of secrets that, and because they're healthy, you would think that Ward and Howell and Williams is kind of setting that outfield, and Scheffler's going to get his share, but a doubleheader is probably going to force us to catch a second catcher. It's going to. We're not going to ask Scheffler to catch, 27 innings in a day and a half there opening weekend. So Nate LaRue will probably draw a start, and maybe even as early as game 1 on Saturday. We think he might be a decent matchup with Jack Owen. We've been forcing them together the last couple of weeks for this moment. So he's been catching his last 150 pitches that he's thrown live in a game to help that transition. So there's a little brain work involved in the decisions that we're making. But that infield, I think some guys have earned a look and earned time on the field, and there's really only 4 spots right there. So if I think 6 or 7 guys, and we do, think have earned some time on the infield, and we can only start 4 at a time, you'll see some different starting players, position players, more than what you've seen the last few years, because I think they deserve a look. And then that pitching staff, I think the acid test, when you really get down to it, because it's paramount, it's the biggest part of the game in my opinion, is one thing it's just hard to rehearse. Tim Hudson can focus for a long period of time, proven. I've seen it. He's unbelievable with a guy in the bullpen. We got our throwing programs down, our workouts down, because Anthony Sanderson and CJ, trainer, strength coach, has done an amazing job. Blake Logan has been there by his side to help every which way with all the analytics and stuff like that. The acid test is going to come this weekend as we're like, okay, Tanner's done. Who we're going to? Is it time to bring him in, take him out? Those are all the things that's the biggest unknown for me, I think. And then the game could present something else, but us getting in a rhythm, that new piece, because pitching is so important to success in the game of baseball, is lining it up. If we're only going to use Cody Greenhill one time on this weekend, you're playing 4 games. Who's closing those other 3? And when are you taking pitchers out? Because our starting pitchers, just like most people in the country, they're not trained to that 100, 110, 115 pitches here on February the 14th at Valentine's Day. They're trained in that 70 to 75 pitch range, and it's going, college baseball is not a ton of CGs. Every time we have one, it's a big storyline. So, I know we had less than 5 last year on the entire season. So this is even more of like you're forcing yourself with 5 games in 5 days to see how much pitching depth you got, and to take a look at a bunch of guys, up to 7 guys potentially getting a start over these 5 games on the infield.
Rankin third, Connor at first to start out.
I think you'll see both. I think you'll see Rankin probably play both, third and first, over this course.
In second.
Possibly. Rankin could start at 3 positions on opening weekend. Somebody's going to, and it might be him. Our super utility, we think right now, even in a corner outfield, in any of the infield positions, has been Brody Moore. I think at the positional, he'll get the positional award at the end of the year where he's played the most positions, would be a guess, because he's pretty proficient all the way around the infield. And last night we were trying to get practice of seeing the ball off the machine and how high can you shoot it last night at dark, just to keep getting ready for night game. And Brody's sitting here when everybody's wrapping up and leaving the field. He's taking fly balls. So he's one of those players that are just a really solid defender wherever we put him. And him and Rankin have really moved around. But I told you the character of Farquhar, and he's playing good baseball. Tyler Miller's probably another unique piece of us. We don't keep stats. It'll start tomorrow, I guess, keeping stats of a season. But in our fall and in our spring, we might do something where we're gauging like 2-strike production or something to be competing against, but we don't keep traditional statistics. But in your brain, Tyler Miller's probably got more hits than anybody this January, these 12 inter squads that we just played. So there's some depth there that we got to shake out and see who's hot and who fits and what really gets this team going the most, where we feel like we can play the best offense and defense.
I guess the status of Ryan Dow.
Yep. Red shirt, Tommy John successful last Thursday. Dr. Andrews, we probably could have gotten him through the season. We like his bat so much that we think he would have had a role. So from that standpoint, we'll have to overcome that. I think that hurts the ball club a little bit because we really liked his left-handed swing. And we probably could have got him through the season with just swinging the bat, but that would have postponed a surgery that he would still have to have this June or July. But it would have, with Matt Scheffler graduating, you know, you're looking in the microscope for the now, and you're also looking in the telescope for the long term for our program, and definitely for Ryan Dowell and his future. And I wasn't willing to have Matt Scheffler graduate. And we brought Nate LaRue and Ryan Dowell to be two really good catchers at the SEC level. I want Ryan Dowell available opening day next year. And so we forfeited that right just to use his bat this year and went ahead and had the surgery last week. He'll be around, be in our dugouts, not travel, all the deal, but he's had a successful surgery, and we all know that that's a 12-month, maybe even 14, 15 for a pitcher to be fully restored, to be able to get sincere outs. We're hoping that's a little quicker for a position player, and that he would be ready to go opening day next year.
Good. All right. Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.